Precious. Good morning, friends. Happy Monday. Yay, it's a Monday, but not yay because it's Monday. If you know, you know. We are going to start coding. So I have here my first chart. I believe this project that I am doing right now will be done this week. I believe it will be done this week. Or if there is like any extension, that it might be next week. But hopefully it will be done and we can have a new start of training, a new brain cells to evolve. Okay, we are done with our first encounter of this chart. This chart is a big chart in pages, but actually I'm now on my second encounter, but it is just a duplicate of my first encounter, so we're skipping that. And before I forget, every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. PST is our live. It was so fun. Last live we had, it was so fun. There were a lot of questions related to medical coding, and instead of crocheting, I did not even finish my axolotl. So that means that was a very productive live. There were a lot of questions that were answered, and if you are interested, we will have another live this Wednesday. Okay, what do we have here? So in the assessment, the patient has chronic hypoxic respiratory failure. So we have emphysema with fibrosis. So J43.9, J84.10, and J96.11. So we have emphysema, pulmonary fibrosis, and chronic respiratory failure with hypoxia. This is the smallest chart so far. This has 22 pages. And let's get some codes from here. The patient has a history of AFib and COPD. So we need to look for, and also schizoaffective disorder. So we need to look for support for those conditions. If there are support for those conditions, then we can report them. If we can find like medication to support that the COPD is present, the AFib is present or current, and if the schizoaffective disorder is also current. If we don't find any medications for those conditions, then we do not report them. There is a cocaine use. Use of cocaine does not risk adjust. There is use, abuse, and dependence. Use or cocaine use does not risk adjust. So far, this is an ED visit or ER visit, and there is actually no home medication to support the COPD, AFib, and schizoaffective. So there are no reportable conditions here because the patient came to the ED for cocaine use and acute chest pain. Those two do not risk adjust. Oh, actually, there is. The AFib and COPD are in the assessment. Good gracious. I found it. So AFib is I-4891 and COPD is J44.9. They're found in the assessment, so that means those are current and we can report them. Guess what, friends? I just finished the smallest chart, right? The smallest chart. And then the next chart that opened, guess what? How many pages? It is 2,400 pager chart. That means happy Monday. Okay, we'll see how long will it take me to finish this 2,400 pager chart. Even just by looking at it, it is still loading. It will take quite some time to finally see all the pages of this chart, and yay to me. I hope there will be a lot of fluffs or duplicates. So there you go. I'll start with the first encounter. The first encounter here is actually a discharge summary. So let's go that. And then we'll see how long it will take me to finish this 2,000 pager chart. I will try to finish or to code for 30 minutes first. And then after 30 minutes, I will pivot to small charts. And then we'll go back to this later until we finally finish it. So now let's code first the first encounter here. So let's go to the assessment. The primary problem is hemoptysis. It's a hemorrhage from respiratory passages, and that does not risk adjust. We have let's see. So there is no condition here actually that I can report, because there are historical conditions such as diabetes, but diabetes, if it is in a historical condition or historical list, we have to find a medication that supports it, so we can consider it as an active or current condition. And so far there is no medication for diabetes to support it, so we cannot report that. And the primary problem for this patient is the hemoptysis or hemoptysis. I don't know how to say that correctly, but that also does not risk adjust. So for this first encounter, there is no condition to be reported. I'll continue coding this humongous chart, and I'll be back when it's done or whenever. Okay, friends, 30 minutes later, and we made it to page 366. So not even close. It's a 2,400 pager chart, and I made it to 366 after 30 minutes. So now I have to pivot. I had to choose, and I have to code some small charts, and then I'll come back to this later. So we opened 100 pager chart now, and let's just start coding this one. Okay, here we go. So the patient's diagnoses are severe amphetamine use or dependence. That is F15.20. That is stimulant use disorder severe. That's F1520. Tobacco use disorder severe, that does not risk adjust. PTSD, that does not risk adjust. And F20.9, which is schizophrenia, and that risk adjusts. So we have two conditions here so far. There is diabetes, but we'll see if there is a medication for the diabetes. There is no medication listed here, but let me double check. Yep, there is no medication for diabetes, so we are not going to code that one. There is hypertension, but that does not risk adjust. All right, so we only have two codes, F1520 and F20.9. Now I am going to continue coding the whole chart, and I'll be back later. So this video, I just realized that this video will be about coding charts in the morning. So let's see how many charts we have coded for this morning, and that's it. So in this encounter, the patient and the patient's date of birth matched. The patient has abdominal pain, but that does not risk adjust. The patient has hypertension, that does not risk adjust. And there is no other conditions here. So let's move on to the next encounter. Yeah, the patient has GERD, but GERD does not risk adjust. Let's see at the surgical history. Nope, there's nothing in the surgical history. What else do we have in this small chart? Yeah, generalized anxiety disorder is F41.1, does not risk adjust. Hypertension does not risk adjust. There's nothing else. All right, friends. Yay, we are back to our 2,400 pager chart right now. And let's do another 30 minutes for this. And then hoping that we can make some progress. And then after that, my dog just farted. So thank you so much, Lucky, for that smell. Can you be a gentleman? Okay. Go to Bombi, please. Okay, so let's go back to this. I will focus on this 2,000 pager chart so we can finish it, and it will be counted on the first in the morning charts. All right, let's go. Okay, friends, guess what? After 30 minutes of working on this 2,400 pager chart, we made it to page 1,003. Hopefully we're gonna finish. We're gonna make it to 15 charts or close to that. But yes, we made it to 1,000 pager, halfway there, almost halfway there. So taking my break. I'm taking my break, and I will be back later. All right, friends, officially this is the 8th chart. And this is a 100 pager chart. The patient comes in for the arm injury. The patient has asthma, which is reportable. The patient has psoriasiform eczema. Let's try to code that. Eczema, psoriasiform. Oops. Nope, does not risk adjust. Let's try again. Psoriasis. Yep. Nope, that does not risk adjust. And that is actually the first encounter for this chart, but since this is a 100 pager, I'm not gonna bring you to coding with me for this whole chart, but I'll be back to do our 9th chart. Okay, we are now into our 9th chart. Let's go. This is a tiny chart, so there's only one encounter here. So the patient has, let me see, the patient has sinusitis, and the patient has a history of epilepsy, and there is a current medication for that. So we can code G40909 for epilepsy unspecified. The patient has headaches, migraines, situational anxiety. Those three do not risk adjust. So there's only one thing to report here, and that is the epilepsy. This is the 10th chart, and let's start. It's loading so slowly. All right, here we go. So it is a sick visit to the doctor's office, and let's see. So the patient had cough, congested nose, acute bronchitis. Acute bronchitis that does not resuggest, that is J20.9. The patient has had high cholesterol, borderline personality disorder, which is, I believe, at 60.3, does risk adjust, but we need to make sure that there is medication to support that, because we found that condition in the problem past medical history. Okay, there's no medication for that. So for this sick visit, there is no there's no condition to support. How about let's go to the second encounter of this chart. It's a 3-month follow-up visit. There is vaginal discharge, high-risk medication use, cervical cancer screening, and annual wellness visit. Those are the reason the patients see the physician. So those do not resuggest, all those 4. And we have only one codable condition, which is the borderline personality disorder, but that is found in the past medical history. So when a condition is found in a past medical history, you need to have a support or a medication to support that this condition is currently treated or is in an active treatment. And so far, there is no medication to support that. There are depressive medication, but there is no personality disorder medication. Yep, there's none. So that's it. So we are done. Finally, happy Monday to me. Yes, we are done with a 2,400 pager chart after 85 encounters. So this chart is 2,400 pager with 85 encounters. It took us 1 hour and 30 minutes to finish. And I'm so happy that it is finally done. This is my biggest chart so far. And then, let's see. And this is my 12th chart of the day. And we still have like 30 minutes before lunch. So that's good. So now I'm gonna do some small charts, and then let's start with this one. This is the 13th chart of the day. I'm just really hoping to finish 15 charts before lunch. So hopefully we're gonna make it. Okay, so this is the 13th chart, and in the assessment, it says major depressive disorder, recurrent moderate, that does not resuggest. Post-traumatic stress disorder, that does not resuggest. Cocaine use disorder, mild, that does not resuggest. But alcohol dependence, F1020, does resuggest, and we can report that. And now we are on our 14th chart. So what do we have here? The patient has a sore throat, asthma, hypertension, pneumonia, pre-diabetes. So we only have one condition that is reportable there, that is asthma, and that risk adjusts, and that has a medication as well. Okay, so we can code that, J45909. And that's it. We only have asthma to report for this one. Yes, we finished our 14th chart. This is our 15th encounter. And let's start. What do we have here? It is psychiatric assessment. Let's go to the assessment. And there is a diagnosis of major depressive disorder, recurrent severe without psychosis. That is F33.2. And there is no medication to support the asthma from the problem list. So that's it. We only have to code F33.2. All right, I'll finish this chart and I'll be back on the 16th chart. So friends, we just finished the 15th chart for the day. And the next chart that popped up is actually a 400-pager chart. So I don't think it will be enough to finish before lunch. So congratulations to us who have finished 15 charts before lunch break. And yes, my camera is now telling me to charge it. So yay, congratulations to us. We finished 15 charts for the first half of the day. I'm happy with that. Happy Monday. And don't forget that every Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. PST, it is our live Q&A or hangout time. I'll see you there. Bye.